So talk about a ridiculously satisfying ending of Komi Can't Communicate. And the season 2 or part 2, whatever way you look at this, because depending if you're looking on Netflix or on other means, they categorize it differently. But the second half of Komi has now finally come to an end. And this finale and this episode was just so satisfying. Like, I literally feel so satisfied by this ending, even though there are some nitpicks that I do have about this episode in specific. Overall, when the show wrapped and it showed the two kitties, and the two kitties found love, and then it ends on a high note with Komi putting away her notebook, and instead of using it to communicate with TADANO, she puts it away. And she immediately shows every single viewer her progress over the last school year and is able to communicate, verbalize, and effectively tell TADANO, I look forward to another year spending it together with you, right? And I thought that was a huge moment for Komi and for the show to really kind of like say, over this past 24 episodes that you've spent with us, here's the accumulation of the progress that Komi, who is our main character who struggles with the communication disorder, etc. Here's the progress that she's made. So if she was able to make this progress in one school year, imagine what the next school year has in store for her, which then sets it up for a very unique position to essentially introduce a proper season 2 or introduce a proper third season and have a continuation of Komi Can't Communicate. And I think that is vitally important. And if they don't, then she kind of saw us all off and was able to close the show out with her able to communicate and her able to make that progress. So I absolutely love this episode, you know, from beginning to end. I thought this episode was just absolutely just amazing. But even though it was amazing, like I said at the beginning, there was one nitpick. So let me talk about my nitpick because it's pretty minor, but I do want to talk about it and get it out the way because obviously here I am as a critic, as a reviewer, and I want to see if you agree with it. So I think the first part of the episode, so instead of breaking this into multiple parts, this was really broken up into the White Day. This was broken up into the Eraser event. And then this was broken up into the last piece, which was looking forward to the next school year. And normally it's broken up into 4 parts. This one was broken up into 3. And I think the first part of the episode, I don't think I've enjoyed an episode of Komi so much, and I'm glad that it came on the last episode. And I want to talk about all the highlights of it, but my nitpick is the first part of the episode I really wish came after the Eraser part, because we got this really heavy, sentimental payoff for spending all of our time here. And the romance in Komi Can't Communicate is a subtext. And what I mean by that is like the main category this would sit in is probably like slice of life. And it has like a subtext or a subcategory of like romance. And it plays a very minor backseat role to the main plot. But it's still there, and they hint towards it, and they grow towards it. And because of that, as a viewer, you know, as an enjoyer of the show, you want to have a payoff. And I think the payoff was in that first part of the episode where TADANO finally gets into Komi. And like I said, I'm going to break it down, I'll talk about it. But I feel like that was the payoff. But then as soon as we get the payoff, then we transition into the Eraser stuff, which the Eraser stuff was funny. You know, I enjoyed it. I thought the, you know, stuff with 𝐜𝐴Tai-kun and stuff like, I thought that was enjoyable. But I really felt like we got this heavy emotional moment. And then to follow it up with this, I feel like it should have been back. I feel like I would have loved the episode to start off with the Eraser shenanigans, you know, and then move into White Day, have that payoff, have a quick scene of them ending a class, you know, nothing big happening, And then we have Neji Ray saying like, hey, I got something to do, reading the room. They talk about the rain, and then we transition into the next school year part. I feel like that flow would have been a even bigger and better payoff for us as a viewer. Instead of going huge emotional moment payoff into kind of funny, but you can find it not funny. And then obviously the end I thought was fantastic. So I really would have loved to have just seen a mix around of the way that they did the order and the things that they did. Now, that the fact is that they didn't, which is okay. Now, the first part of the episode where Tadano is stressing about White Day and he has to call on his sister for help, and his sister was finally able to read his emotions and come to his saving grace, I thought was really cute. And then when he goes over to Komi's house, he tries to break immersion. He tries to break away from it out of nervousness. Komi's mom immediately pulls him into the house, like, because Komi was out on an errand. She pulls him in aggressively, and he's like, doesn't know how to handle it. She puts him into Komi's room. He doesn't know how to handle it. She's like, oh crap, I'm in her room. And before he can really absorb the fact that he's in her room, Dad breaks in. And the moment that the dad broke in, I lost it. I was laughing so effing hard. And then his dad sits down, puts up a cup of tea. So now I was thinking the tea's for him, and instead the dad just kind of looks at him and then grabs the tea, is about to drink it. And then that's when Komi breaks in. But the whole time, like, Tadano was like, he was nervous. He was like, I'm so sorry. Like, your daughter's great. She does great at school. She's so studious. And he's losing his mind. And then obviously Komi breaks in, like, pushes Dad away. And then they shared their really sentimental, emotional moment. And I love that so much. I was like, I feel like this is what I've been watching as a viewer for all season long, was for this moment. I feel like that payoff was just like, was more than I could ask for. Then we have the eraser stuff, so the eraser moment and stuff. I love how Komi won, and I love how Katai was able to kind of like go through those motions. I thought it was a decently funny stuff. I think it was just, for me, it was more passing the time till we got to the next arc. And then we got the, In the Rain, talking about next year, Komi dealing with the emotions of maybe not seeing Tadano and her friends again. And then we get to end off with a bunch of different memories, reenacting what happened during the season. Then we got the perfect ending, which was the two kitties falling in love, and then the cat who was introduced at the beginning is looking out for Komi, and then he sees her, and then she sees that she's in the same class with Tadano. She verbalizes it, and we get the perfect ending. Overall, I want to say thank you for being with me all season long for this ride. This has been a fantastic ride. I love Komi Can't Communicate. I think it's a very, very special show. I think it tackles something that no anime's ever tackled before, and I hope that more anime decide to step out of the box and decide to do something special like this and cover other things that happen in real life like this, like, a communication disorder or someone just being very introverted, or, someone who is doesn't know how to deal with social elements, somebody who can grow out of their shell, within a school year. Somebody maybe making their first real friend in life. Like, I love these exploration of these weird one-off topics, and I hope that the anime industry continues it. And if anything, I hope that we get another season of Komi Can't Communicate. But I'm gonna leave you guys on that. Thank you guys for joining me all season long for the first season and the second season. You guys mean the world to me. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the final episode of the season in the comments below. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode, and I won't see you guys for another episode of Komi, but I will see you in the summer. So make sure you guys check out the video on screen over here somewhere about the top 10 anime we're going to watch this summer, and I hope to see you then. All right, my friends. Peace out.